Oh, Wild Wild. I heard it's amazing. I haven't watched it yet.
And there's a lot of body hair. I was thinking we kind of got to bring it back.
There's so much bush.
Let's bring back the bush.
No, I've been working on it.
I am not. I could never get attracted to a chick with bush.
I'm so all about it.
Well, I've been watching Versailles. I don't know if you watch that. Maybe we should talk about this on the pod. Are we on the pod now?
Yeah, we're just going to get going.
I've pretty much watched every period piece that exists
Feel free
ever,
to swing that
so
mic
I don't
over
know
if you
which
want
one
it.
is Versailles.
This way?
Do whatever you want with it. I didn't really.
Yeah, I mean, how's it coming in? You know, if this is good, this
you
is probably
sound good. Are your cans okay? You want louder? Oh yeah, you don't have cans on. You've got there's some. I think there were.
Is there another?
Oh, Tasha stole yours.
Oh, sorry.
No worries. Here.
Okay, great.
I'm all wrapped up.
No, it's fine. Just throw it in the front of your.
No, I'm trying. I'm tangled.
This is riveting. I'll keep this in.
There you go.
I like people to know that. You don't want things to be too clean. I did someone's podcast once, and they were like, "Hey, welcome to," and they're like, "No, do it again. Try that again." It's like, no, we press the red button and we talk.
Yeah,
we're not overly producing.
My co-host, we call her like One Take Liz, and I'm just like always fumbling. And do we do that again?
Epic name, One Take Liz.
Yeah, she's good.
This is 1 hour to blow dry your hair, Tasha.
Which is why it ain't blow dried.
Yeah.
We're with Matt Ritter today. Host of the Safe for Work podcast. How you doing, buddy?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.
Silver Lake. Is this Silver Lake or adjacent?
We're in the...
We're literally... Okay, so Beverly is right there. That's Silver Lake.
Right.
So we are on the K-Town side of Silver Lake.
I know, because I lived over here, and I used to tell people I lived in East Hollywood, just as a joke.
I
actually just saw like an updated map of like what neighborhood this actually is, and whatever the name of it was something I'd never heard of.
It's a new real estate name, right?
Yeah.
They're trying to sell it as like so.
It was like way too fancy.
Well, because it used to be named Little Armenia. No, what's it called? Like Little Bangladesh?
Bangladesh is like right over there.
That's attractive to the real estate.
Little Bangladesh.
That's attractive to the gentrification people.
Yeah, like what? I mean,
Sobe, south of Beverly.
Yeah.
Is that what it is?
No.
I just made that up. That's what it should be.
I like that.
Yeah.
No, it was something, I don't remember, but like I've thought that we were Rampart Village for a while.
That sounds bad because Rampart had that whole police scandal.
Also, it's
really?
like,
in the 90s, they were all on the take. They had like a whole, I think there was a RICO, like there was a case against the entire like Rampart division of the LAPD.
I think that's technically like our neighborhood council is like the Rampart Village neighborhood council.
I think they cleaned it up now, though. I think now they're good popo.
Well, now I don't know. Los Angeles is
they're off the take.
No matter what.
We were driving home the other night, and it was really late. It was like 4 a.m, and there was
almost 5.
It's a homeless guy walking through this big intersection.
Not homeless at all. He was dressed like you. He was well dressed. He was wearing a button up. And Dave, okay, so I was like, oh my God, this guy's gonna get hit by a car. I mean, he was literally unresponsive to beeps and like stumbling through the middle of a busy intersection, Vermont and Beverly.
Yeah.
So people are going 50 miles an hour. It's almost 5 a.m. People are flying. And I was like, this guy is going to get hit by a car.
So what happened?
So I made Dave call the cops.
I called 911 and then I told them, and they're like, do you want to report this? Or they were like, I'm going to put your phone away. Is that all right?
Fine.
They were like, do you want to like give us your name and number? And I was like, no, just
I
let
hate
you know.
that part. I do that
I was like,
too.
I don't want to be
sometimes.
involved in whatever happens next. And then we get here and then we hear sirens and we're like, oh fuck,
he's dead. And then they're going to be like, you called that in. Now you have to testify. I know, that's why I'm always like, I always see like all kinds of like aggressive behaviors in the neighborhood. I'm like, if I can call the cops, but then I'm like getting dragged.
But that's the New York. Like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to know.
But,
here's what happened.
Well,
don't contact
bystander effect. Like you always think that someone else is going to call the cops.
Right.
And this neighborhood, I mean, maybe a year or two before Dave moved in with me, there was a guy that was literally shot and killed on the street right outside this window.
My God.
Yeah, there's a lot of gang activity
and I bet you
in
nobody
this
called it
neighborhood.
in.
Right? He just laid there for days. But that's the thing is, like, there are not enough resources in Los Angeles. There's so many square miles and only a handful of cops. So they allocate, like, where they spend their time is based on the number of police reports they have for that neighborhood. So, like,
you're saying you should
have
make
to call.
reports.
That's what, like, we had a guy that came in after that guy got killed, like the local officer or whatever, and he did, like, a community meeting, and he was like, listen, you guys have to call the police because otherwise we're not coming here. You know, he was like, we circle the neighborhoods that have the most reports. And so like when you see the graffiti or when you see gang activity or when you see prostitution, which there's a lot of for some reason in this block, like you got to call the cops.
There's a good reason. I mean,
look, we start every episode off talking about
complaining about Los Angeles.
No, but
I don't know why.
We were robbed in West Hollywood. We were robbed.
Really?
Yeah.
At gunpoint?
No, they jumped into our apartment and stole our laptops and a bunch of stuff.
Well, technically that's a burglary.
Burglary.
Does that count as
You were
being
burgled.
robbed?
That's the same thing.
Yeah, burglary is within robbery.
Robbed is like they take it from you.
So robbery is like the blanket robbed, right? But burgled is if they come and rob inside a home.
Yeah.
My girl I was dating was robbed or burgled.
Hamburgled.
In New York when we were all out at a Christmas party.
Yeah.
And we came back and like there's shit missing and I'm so optimistic. I'm like, you left it somewhere. They're like, no, someone, and the sheriff was like,
what?
Foot tracks coming out of the window.
That's what happened to us. Your first instinct is like, you're an idiot. Nobody stole your laptop. You're just messy. Yeah. And then we realized that like all of our laptops were gone. And
they went into
my friend's sunglasses.
They were the top floor building, which means they went down through the roof. And it's like, really? Was it worth it?
I always feel like slightly more safe knowing that we're on the top floor. Like, wow, these people have to work really hard to like get up to the top floor.
We're on the first, and I know exactly how he got in because we watched the footage of him breaking in.
Wow.
Because we have cameras outside. We just have a little garden, and then we have a patio, and it's our apartment. He hid like behind some bushes. He jumped up from the driveway where the garage is, and he like jumped up there, hid. It was like 10:45 on a Saturday night. Wow. And then just hid, and then just jumped up on our patio.
Do you think they think people are out partying, so that's when they do
Well, he dressed up like you're dressed right now.
So not
he kind of looked like you, actually. But he looked like but he looked like he could fit into the neighborhood.
So he's a white dude.
Yeah, he was like Armenian, maybe I guess.
Little Armenia.
Yeah,
that's where they get you.
But so they caught the guy allegedly 3 years later. By the way, we filed a police report. They came like 3 hours later, and then they were like, "There's nothing we can do." Yeah. Sorry. I'm like, "You have his fingerprints and video of the guy. There's nothing you can do." They're like, "Yeah, probably won't get him." I was like, "That's really comforting."
Yeah.
And so then this was really disturbing for my wife, actually, because it was her laptop that was stolen, and we weren't married at the time, so that was on the report. And so they called us and they said, we may need her to come testify. We have this guy and we're going to do a trial. And I was like, I don't know about that. And they're like, yeah, we sent a subpoena in the mail. I'm like,
holy shit.
So we go down there and I talked to the prosecutor and I said, if all things being equal, I saw what she saw, which is nothing. We both watched the video of the guy. We've seen the pictures of the guy, but she doesn't have any other intel that I don't have. And they were just like, well, unfortunately, because you're not the victim. Because it was her
laptop, not yours.
Right. So she had to testify, but it was so stupid because
coach her through the test.
Yeah. Oh, totally.
Because so those listening, you're a practicing lawyer.
Yeah.
You were a practicing.
Yeah. I was. I put in 5 years but I was a corporate lawyer at a huge firm.
Like a prison.
I put in my 5 and 10. I put in my 5. I'm on my my probation officer. But so no, I said, look, just tell the truth. Honestly, I said, just tell the truth. Don't overthink it. But the problem was it had been 3 years. And honestly, we never saw this person face to face. So the whole thing made no sense because basically they were asking her to testify. They wanted to ask her if the person in the photo that the building had, this grainy photo outside, looked like the person in the courtroom. And so if you think about it, it's like, why is she better suited to do that than any other person on earth? Like, I could look at a photo, you could look at that photo, and there's really no reason. But I guess they just kind of use it as like leverage,
Maybe she's more credible as a woman.
Yeah, than me, right?
Is that? I mean,
I
no.
don't know.
I don't know if they think so. Like that, like knowing that you are a lawyer.
No, but so she broke down crying. Like we had to go to,
Of course,
she was like freaking out, like looking at the guy.
And it's a big responsibility.
Yeah, so she said she didn't know. She was like, honestly.
Sort of. I don't know. This is a grainy
That's
picture.
What she did. That's like what she did.
What about fingerprints? Did you test for prints at my house?
Did they get the guy?
So they did. But it was also because he had been caught with like 7 other burglaries in the neighborhood.
Yeah.
But still, she was like, her best guess. It was like, she was like, I don't know. He looks like him, but I can't.
I always wonder, like, how desperate do you have to be to like break into someone's home and steal their stuff? Like, I don't know. I just sort of feel like it's almost easier to like hit up a bar for steal a tip jar or something. I don't know.
A tip jar would definitely be easier than going into somebody's apartment.
I don't know. This
is what the cop told us. He said, it's funny. He said, actually, it's only a couple of people. Like, you see that there's like hundreds of break-ins. He's like, if you take this guy off the streets, you're taking 200 burglaries off the streets in that neighborhood alone.
Because that's their thing.
That's his thing.
Yeah, they're all like serial burglars.
Every day. He's out there.
But like, how you would think that like you would make enough of a living selling black market stolen computers or whatever that you could like get on your. I don't know. I imagine
he clocks in and out every day.
Get on your feet and you find a not dangerous job to do.
And is he? He's Armenian, so he's stealing American robbery jobs from. I don't know.
He's stealing jobs. That's a job thing.
So
he's a job creator.
Yeah, it's it's just part of the economy.
No, he's a job creator because then there's like the police and then there's the court system.
Fingerprint duster guy. Video.
By the way, how about the court stenographer? What is she going to do? You know, what kind of union must they have there? They haven't been replaced.
Look, I had to do a deposition recently. That stenographer, they don't get paid enough. That is a shit job.
But you don't even need that. We have tape recorders now. Wow.
I know.
How is that? Or like the court sketch artist. Like, how is he still in business?
I was getting deposed, and the lawyer was like, I got in an accident, and she's asking me to describe the car that hit me. And I was like, I have the video.
Yeah.
And she's like, no, describe
so
it.
I can do my little thing.
I was like, I think it's red, but I don't know. And then afterwards I looked at the video and it's gray. And I'm like, what does this mean? Like, did it not hit me anymore because I didn't know the color that it hit me from my blind side?
Never happened.
So, I mean, were you, the law world, were you just fed up with the litigious nature?
Well, so I was not a litigator. I was a corporate guy. So basically what we would do is just like buy and sell, like, you know, $1 billion deals, you know. So I was fed up with the fact that like this was like a stack over my head of documents that I had to get through in like a day.
There's always
there's never paperwork.
There's two things they say. They say lawyers are. It's a very high. It's a high suicide, high depressed.
Well, I think the burnout rate is really high as well.
Also, a lot of lawyers become comedians. I think they have the same muscle of like bullshit, calling out bullshit, and plus also intelligence.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of it, right? There's the intelligence, right? We want to think comedians are all brilliant, obviously. There's that.
I think comedians are way smarter than most people.
Yeah, no, I think there's the logic, though. The logic of being a comic, the logic of crafting the joke. Yeah. You know, and the logical reasoning skills that go into lawyering. I think.
Did you jump? Were you doing stand up while you were a lawyer?
I used to sneak out. Yeah, I used to sneak out at like fucking midnight and go to New York Comedy Club and like all the hellholes.
Sneaking out at midnight. It's like, ugh.
Yeah, I know. But you were sneaking out because you were on Call 20. I'll tell you how fucked up it was.
I started watching. You can say whatever you want. Oh. I started watching the one with Meghan Markle. What's that?
Suits.
Oh, I love it so much.
I mean, that's like quasi-realistic, except for the fact that nobody's good looking in the actual law.
But they're always like, oh, I gotta say, can you really sneak out and go to the ballet or whatever?
I'll tell you how it really is. Okay, this was at the height of I was helping to destroy the economy. And
you're working for the largest law firm.
Yeah, and I was doing subprime mortgage-backed securitization, like taking mortgages and packaging and selling them as dog shit securities.
So that's what you were involved in. Why our economy crashed?
That was what I started at, and I got out of that and I moved into something else. I was like, this doesn't seem right.
All the weight of the recession falls on your shoulders.
I was patient. You ever see that movie about AIDS? I was like patient zero, the flight attendant.
You're like, I think I've got a problem, and then you're like, nah, whatever.
No, I did try to voice my complaint. I was like, does this seem right to anybody? Like that? Like, just shut up and
do it.
Yeah. So it was so crazy that I lived in Chelsea. I lived in the meatpacking district, and my office was on 51st and 7th, so like 3 stops on the subway. But if you were 3 days before the deal was closing, they wouldn't let you go home. I was like, what do you mean I can't? Like, we have a hotel across the street. If you need to take a nap for an hour or shower, you can do that, but that's it.
So, like, every few hours you go, you have a stress jerk off.
Yeah,
you gotta have a stress jerk off.
You gotta jerk it, obviously.
We can paint this however we want, but just so Tasha knows, when you're stressed, you gotta go jerk. That's what the meatpacking industry is called.
And then take a nap.
Yeah, but
take a nap and go back to work.
You see, you jerk it, and come back. Yeah, you have an option. You only have an hour.
Go to the deli.
You can't do all of those things. You can eat, jerk off, or shower.
Are you on salary, or are you getting overtime?
No, there's no overtime. You're getting very well compensated. I mean, you're making a shit. You're 25 and you're making a ton of money, and so that's the trade-off in New York in finance and law and all those things. But so there was a guy, this poor kid. I mean, I had no problem with it because I was like, you grind, and then I go out and I do a bunch of drugs.
How much Adderall were you taking?
Yeah, you do a bunch of drugs and you party and you just don't sleep and you're just in the office because you slept in the office.
And you age 50 years in 1 year.
No, that's how you have to get. That's why you got to. It fucked up my back like permanently. Jeez. You know. But so this guy, this kid named George, who was a couple of years ahead of me, he used to get these terrible migraines. And if you ever had migraines or know anyone who has, like, you can't just like
you can't function.
You can't power through a migraine. Go
blind.
Yeah, you can't just plow through.
I've had them where you just vomit.
Yeah, exactly. You can't just like toughen up. So it was his turn. So he was napping at the hotel, and it was my turn. You know, so I tried to go get him. He's like, I'm not coming out. I got a migraine. I was like, okay, I respect that. You know, so I came back and I was like, look, he's got his migraine. He's like, no. Go get him. I'm like, I'm not. Look, I already tried. They like sent 2 more associates to go get him, and they were like banging on the door and like, we need you at the office now. And he's like, I don't care. You can call the cops. I'm not coming out of this room. And they just fired him.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a lawsuit waiting.
Yeah, I'm sure he settled. I'm sure he got some sort of settlement from the firm because they wanted to keep that hush hush. You know that they were doing that. But that's the kind of like atmosphere that just gives you a sense of like, what was it like working as a corporate lawyer at a big firm in New York in the mid 2000s?
Like Wolf of Wall Street
and the New York Comedy Club, which is like 30th and 3rd or 21st, whatever. It's near in Gramercy area. And so you just started your stand up in New York.
Yeah,
and then you were just. So
I was running a couple really awesome shows. I had this really amazing.
What year is this?
This
I'm wondering if I'm
2008, 2007, 2008.
No, this is before my time.
Yeah, I was running this awesome show in the West Village at Rouge Wine Bar. There's this little wine bar at the bottom of this French restaurant whose name is escaping me on 11th, and it was like downstairs had this. It was like the size of this kitchen with like 30 seats, and it was like, you know, Amy Schumer, Pete Holmes, Hannibal Buress, T.J. Miller, Kumail, and like they would all go there. There was no stage, so you would just be like walking around people who were just having wine, and it was like amazing.
New York is just built for comedy because you got these small basements.
Yeah.
I mean, the Cellar wasn't designed to be that way. It's just what they had. So you get these 80-seaters, the stand, these tiny little places, and you can pack people in and get fucking real.
The show was called Denial Sundays. It was Sunday night, you know, too. Like a Sunday night show that was like amazing. So
how long were you doing stand-up, and like what was the final exit strategy out of?
Well, so basically the long story short is, I was doing stand-up, and I was like starting to get good. You know, you never know. You think you're good like 2 years in. Everybody thinks they're good at comedy. And I was in Big Law. I was miserable. I was in a relationship, sort of miserable in that. I was dating this girl for like 2 years, and nice girl, like typical Jewish girl. Like she was on board with marrying a lawyer, you know, like that was her life plan.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
And so when I
parents must love that.
Yeah.
Oh, how's Matt doing?
Yeah,
they must need to love it.
Yeah, so you know, I was like, she could see that my life plan was changing, you know, and I could see that she wasn't on board with it, you know. So finally, like when I just like quit on a whim. It was kind of like I just knew I didn't want to do this shit anymore, you know. So just like
did it happen faster than you thought? Like you had made the decision and then you were like, fuck it.
Well, the true story is that I started basically like I had this plan. I'm like, let me get them to fire me because in law you get a huge severance.
Yeah.
So I was like, I got to get them to like
absolutely
do this. And I was just like, I was just like staying at home, like working in my underwear.
Well, in any situation, it's better to get fired unless it's for like a reason where they don't have to give you severance. But it's better to have them let you go than you decide.
Totally, especially because I knew they were going to give me like 5 months of like Big Law salary. So I was like, I want to move to LA. Like I had this idea in my head, and so I started talking about it with my then girlfriend. I was like, so I think I'm going to quit law to do comedy full time. And she was like, how much do you think you could make your first year in comedy? I was like, she said that point blank.
No, but I mean, you can't really judge her for it.
I can't.
You'll make more in the morning doing in law.
In the morning, before lunch. Hourly. Before lunch, I made more
jerking off at the hotel.
I made more money jerking off in 5 minutes at the hotel while poor Georgie was screaming from his migraine.
But it's like, how short is this fucking life?
How short is this life?
How short do what you love?
And it's true. You get to this point, and I think, you know, this thing happens to a lot of us where it's like, I couldn't even go to the office. I couldn't even put my clothes on, you know? Well, because I was enjoying jerking off at home. And I had this little like key fob, the remote access thing where you could access your computer at home. And so I tipped my secretary really well. That was the secret for me. I gave her a bigger Christmas bonus than the big partners because like people would come in like, where's Matt? She'd be like, oh, he's just down the hall. And then she'd call me and I'm home jerking off. You know, she's like, there's a conference call in 10 minutes. I'm like, all right, I'm on it. You know, if I had to put my pants on and like hop on the subway. I'm there in like 10 minutes and nobody's the wiser.
Yeah.
That's wild.
But so I did that for, like 4 months, and then I fell asleep on there was like $1 billion deal closing. I fell asleep, and I was like partying out at night, like drugs, whatever. And I knew I had to get in the office. So like I just came into the office and passed out under my desk, like the full on like Costanza treatment, like hiding under my desk, but I just like tried to take a little nap to get my senses, and a partner walked in and saw me with my feet dangling outside of the desk, like when you see a car mechanic and you just see the feet, and he was like livid and he's like cursing at me and all this shit, like you fucking
and I'm just fixing the thing.
Yeah. No, I was like, sorry, I was just taking a little nap. Like I was like just taking a little nap. He's like, are you fucking wasted right now? I'm like, no, I'm fine. He's like, you're fucking wasted. I'm like, why are you even saying that? He's like, because you're wearing 2 different colored shoes to the office.
Oh, no.
And so I quickly was like, yeah, because I'm colorblind, like, sorry, I'm colorblind.
Is that true?
No. And he goes, look, even if that were true, like, that's bullshit. I'm like, why? He's like, I would believe you except for the fact that you literally showed up to work. This is how fucked up you are, and you don't even realize it yet. He's like, look down at your feet. I'm like, what? And it took me like 30 seconds to realize I had worn 1 brown loafer and 1 black lace up. Like I literally laced up a black shoe at home.
Just one,
and put a brown loafer on.
That's fucking wild.
At work. And so like shortly thereafter we had our review. It was great. And I was just like, so Matt, what is this? What do you want to, like, it wasn't even like a formal review. They're like, what are you doing here? What do you want? I'm like, I want it. I got to get out of here. They're like, all right, cool. We'll just figure out, where you want to go. And like, we'll give you as much time as you need, but just, this job's not for you, obviously. I was like, yeah, you're totally right.
So did you get severance?
Yeah, 4.5 months.
Good for you.
That's great.
I mean, that's, at least they have a small heart.
Well, yeah.
You know what's interesting is like you're a super likable guy, and what's interesting is
thank you. That was so matter of fact. Like it's undisputable that I'm super likable.
I'm starting that off.
Matter of fact,
shell over you.
Yeah, but you're pretty dumb. But you're not smart.
With the Hollywood and what people think of villains, I was in a fraternity, so I can relate to people just not liking you.
Yeah.
Your story is like the rich lawyer dude that people like. If you were, you know what I mean, you'd be the asshole in Wall Street.
Totally.
You know what I mean?
Oh, completely.
But you're just a product of like living in New York, trying to get by, trying to still be young and be authentic, but also fitting into what they, you know what I mean? It's a real struggle with doing what's right. And it's, I mean, for every story where you hear of someone getting out, there's those people that didn't have the balls to like push that line, that just stayed in that job they hate. A lot of people listen and go, because the mantra we use is leap in the net will appear. And there's a lot of people that are like, I'm still waiting for that moment to pull the trigger. And it's like, fuck, man. Like,
well, I think it's true that like it doesn't like money doesn't buy happiness is like the moral of the story. You can be unhappy at your mechanic job, or you can be unhappy making a crap ton of money, 6 figures, living other people's dream. Like if it's not your dream, if you're not feeling fulfilled, if you're not feeling inspired, like creatively inspired every day, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
I think it's also, now here in Hollywood, we have a lot of people who are, I would say, creatives and dreamers, and, we're following our dreams. And I think a couple things. One is your 20s is you don't know what you want to do, really. A lot of people don't know what they want to do. And
much less in high school when you're trying to pick your college.
Right. So people are like, why did you become a lawyer? I'm like, it's not. There wasn't really a lot of
choice,
life thought.
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot
wear
of deep
cool suits. And
there wasn't but I'm saying a lot of people are like, why did you dip here? Because nobody does a deep soul search. You usually do it like in your 30s, and some people think it's too late by then. By the time people do that, like, what am I really here for? What do I really want to do? And so a lot of those people that you're talking about, like, they feel stuck in it or whatever, or, maybe not everybody is, this is the flip side is I feel like, we're a little bit on the far end where we think your job is supposed to be your life satisfaction. And for a lot of people, that's just not reality. I mean, it's a job, so I get a lot of calls like on Safe Work, and sometimes I'm like, well, you're kind of, there's no win-win in that job, and it doesn't sound like you have some other dream. So find satisfaction outside of your workplace too. Have a balanced life.
That's what I was going to ask, because as someone who's taken the leap out of the corporate world, and you kind of are like living your own creative dreams, your podcast, Safe for Work, is all about giving people advice in their jobs. I mean, are you like, I have to make sure that I don't convince people to quit their jobs, because it's like, that's a decision you have to make on your own. And I don't want to be the guy that, dude, just follow your dreams. It's like, bro, you'll know when you're ready to follow your dreams. Yeah. Like you'll know when it's time to punch out of that cocoon.
I'm extremely cautious of the platform that we have. We have a big platform and we are giving people advice. So I'm definitely cautious of telling people to leave their job. You know, I'm always like, okay, tell me what's going on. But I actually think most of the people who ask for advice know the answer and they just want to be heard a lot of times. You know what I mean?
Or they want affirmation.
They want affirmation.
That what their gut is telling them is feasible.
So if somebody's giving me all the things that are basically saying, I want to leave my job, I'm not going to say, hey, don't do that. You know, I'm just going to like try and make sure I've teased out what's really going on.
What advice would you give? Tasha's brother's 18.
Yeah.
He's going to college. So blank canvas. What advice would you give someone just when they're at that stage where you are trying to learn, go to college, do things, but also don't exactly know? Because the first time we talked to him, he's like plastic surgeon. The next time he's like biomedical engineer, and it's like, and I don't judge him. I was
on the same realm.
I'm just saying, like, I wanted all these sexy things, and then when you break them down, it's like I wanted to work in advertising. I worked in advertising, and I got there first day at work, and I was like, oh, this isn't sexy. I wanted sex.
I think now I tell people, like, just try and figure out who you are and try and find a field that aligns with your values. Mm-hmm. I think that's kind of like the best broad advice you can give
somebody. Find out what makes you happy and what.
Yeah, but not necessarily just happy. Like, I think like aligning with your values is not just like happiness, because some people's values are money.
Yeah,
and that's okay.
Yeah, and some people want to make the world a better place,
and some people just want to do cool shit.
Yeah,
and like some people want things that sound cool, that are actually a grind, but they want access to things, you know? Yeah. And so if those are your values, like I'm not going to judge those, but if you know what those are, find something that aligns with that.
And in New York coming up, the ego of New York is like big money, big. So I got out of the business world, and when I lived in New York, I was just working, doing background on law shows like Suits and Wolf of Wall Street and Wall Street 2. Like literally I was just that white dude they put in
Wall Street. Dave never sleeps because he's got to be an extra at 4 a.m. on the set.
Good Wife. I mean, every law show in New York, Law and Order. I mean, just like,
hey, I recognize that guy.
If someone did their research, they'd see me serving a burger on Gossip Girl.
Wait a minute. How could he possibly be working there when he's also working over there? You know what I always hate on TV? I hate when they put like somebody who's vice president in one show as the president on the other. Dude, they're like the Secretary of State. I'm like, how did she get that role? She's VP.
On Good Wife, I've been on the prosecution and the defense in the same scene.
Yeah. This guy's a shoddy witness. He's
just put the cowlick to the other side. But I had my buddies, Nick Bidding, I shouldn't say his name, but whatever, buddies that were like good guys that I went to college with that were like working in finance, and I'd go out with them at night, and these dudes were like, and it wasn't even a drug thing, but money wasn't an option. They were all partying, and they actually took care of me. Like one guy would buy the round, and then I'd be like, I guess I got to get the next one. The round's like a lot of money.
Now you have to make sure you're like sixth in line for the rounds in New York, and then you're like, I gotta go to sleep.
The round is an art form that women don't know about. Women don't know about the rounds.
That's not true. That's absolutely not true.
Tasha's really good at buying drinks for people. You're good at that, but most girls, if you take 10 girls and they go to a bar, usually one girl's like, all right, I'll be right back, and the girl gets her drink, and
so they're not stupid, is what you're saying.
Right, then they're like, all right, rounds, beers, bro, beers,
I know.
And then there's one guy who's comes back with a big
such a money suck.
Yeah, but I was partying with guys like you, but like the finance guys, not necessarily the lawyer guys. But how did you transition from working in law, partying, to then stand up, and also at what point
broke.
Did your girlfriend? I mean, because you have to, like, that's the whole thing with relationships. If you're not traveling the same direction, it's going to end one way or another. I mean, how did that end? How did that relationship kind of like separate?
Yeah. So as I said, I was in the New York finance law world, and by the way, partying as a lawyer with your finance friends is actually super hard because they think that like you're supposed to keep up. It's different from like, oh, let's take care of our actor friends. They're not going to take care of the lawyer friend, right? Like, because you're like quasi in the same circle, but they're making 10 times as much as you.
Oh, really? They are?
Oh, yeah. So like the young lawyer in New York is really strapped because he's going out trying to compete for women, like he's going after trying to date the same women as his finance friends who are just like, oh yeah, I'll spend $800 in a given night. It's like, even lawyers are making a lot of money when you're 25, it's a lot of money.
I was trying to make the case that Donald Trump was attractive in his
I saw that.
I was trying to make that case, and I have never had somebody be like, bah!
I mean, he did slay a lot of attractive women, but he's very rich.
But
so
in
it's
New
hard
York,
to
there's a lot of wealth on the younger level that there's women that are literally looking for. I mean, don't get me wrong. You want to talk about drying up a woman's vagina? Tell her you do background on TV shows. I mean, there was types of girls that would talk to me and types that wouldn't.
Yeah.
And that's the thing is the first question is, what do you do?
Yes.
And in New York, it's like, these women, they know. I sound so.
But how can you sound like you are? How can you judge them for aligning with their values or following?
I don't.
But don't be mad. But don't be mad with ladies of New York City when you say, dating's tough. Yeah, get out of Wall Street. Like you're trying to date guys that already have.
No, but dating is tough in New York too, because I think the ratio of there's just a lot more women than men too, because there's a lot of gay guys. Take the gay man out of the pool. Yeah, it's great. Dude. It's amazing. I always tell my friends that are younger, I'm like, you got to live in New York as a single guy in your 20s.
Guy too, but now you can factor in that you've got when a girl asks what you do, you've got the right answer.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of good things going on. I mean, were there a lot of women out there to choose from, or how did you pick?
Listen, my wife knows this. Before I met my wife, I was a piece of shit. I was real scum. And actually, it's kind of funny because it was one of those things where, when you're trying to clean up your act, when you meet the girl who you're like, oh shit, this is the one. I gotta I gotta scrub my past. I gotta but your friends, they're not willing to do that for you. Your boys are just not willing to go that far for you. And so it's just one of those things where guys, can you just fucking not talk about anything that we've ever done before? If she asks you a question about our past, just be like, yeah, we played a lot of tennis and stuff,
But New York's an insane place for a guy to be. Tasha, I was single for 5-6 years living in New York. I don't have any women that really hated me. I mean, I think they understood what they were getting, which is look, we're not trying to get married. We're just dating. There was no going out on dates. It was kind of just we'll be at this bar or we'll be at that place. You would just kind of see. That's for me, at least.
I would say for me, the hardest thing was I remember when I was in my 20s and then I started dating the one girl that I broke up with. But when we started dating, it was you're going out to these bars and you're like, I got to not make eye contact with the other many girls that I've slept with in this bar. This is it's super awkward. It's even the co-check girl is I better not talk to her either. The valet guy, I slept with him too.
Hey, the guys in New York are cute too.
Yeah.
I've been to some gay bars in New York, and I went to a gay bar and a girl. I went after a show with a bunch of people, so there was it was a big night for the gay community. They just passed one of the laws that recognizing marriage, and there was gay dudes brought their dads, and the dads are cheering on. It was a really cool moment. But I remember the drag queen. That sounds weird when I say the drag queen. The drag queen on stage, who was the host of the karaoke night, was singing show tunes, and she stopped to point me out because I was with a girl, and they're like, "Look at these heterosexual motherfuckers!" And everyone starts cheering for us. And I was like, "I love the gays."
I remember that day because my sister was working as a news correspondent, and so she has it on her reel or something from that day. Yeah.
That was I probably told this story before. I was working background on the Normal Heart. The Normal Heart's
I know. Tony Kushner.
Basically,
no, not Tony Kushner.
It was when literally before AIDS was known what it is. They were kind of coming out and forming the Gay Men's Alliance or whatever, or the Gay Men's Choir. They had all these. They basically were forming a hotline for gay men to figure out what the fuck was going on. It was a crazy moment. But so I was there at one of the only and it was a giant club scene, so they just bust in as many gay guys as they could, and everyone's shirtless. And I was one of the only guys. They were like, "Keep a t-shirt on." Not into the shape of the gay. The gay shape is way less body fat percentage than me. But then you've got Ryan Kelly. Is it Ryan Kelly? Is that his name? The guy.
Ryan Murphy.
Brian Murphy.
Ryan Murphy.
Who's Ryan Murphy?
Yeah.
That's it. And he's super gay, and he's the creator of all these shows. And, and then Matt Bomer and all these other gay actors, and everyone's hugging and kissing and cheering. And I'm just this wallflower who's fuck yeah, this is. I was gay for a day. I was gay for a day. It was great. I didn't kiss anyone, but hey, if someone wanted,
I don't think that's what gay for a day is. Then if you didn't kiss anybody,
does no one want me? I was the one guy who stood out. Anyway, so yeah, you're running around in New York, footloose. I mean, what does it take for a woman to, stop you? What did it take for your girlfriend to be no, we're together now?
Well, I think it's just nothing. I mean, you just have to be in the mindset of I'm done with I'm fucking tired of this, like it's so.
I mean, are there girls though that you were like, that you had previously been with that could have been girlfriends? You just weren't.
Oh yeah. There were definitely a couple of great girls that I totally fouled up, like, cause it was not that time.
Do you look back and wonder like, geez, like that was a good.
No, because it's funny because my wife and I would talk about this and I'm like, you would have fucking hated me if we were the same age. Cause I'm 7 years older. And if we had been, at college together or New York together, like anytime before I met her, it would have been like a disaster.
Yeah.
Cause I was just like not ready to be a good human.
Mature.
Yeah.
We met 4 years before we dated and we probably would have, I would have charmed you a little bit, but
I would have slept with my wife. I would have gotten her home with me for sure. But
yeah, so you exit the law world.
Yeah.
And then how soon after does your girlfriend say like, I'm not going to fuck?
Oh, that you're talking about the one that we broke up. Oh, she's like dumped me in the moment. I mean, she didn't say like we're breaking up right now, but she was like,
you saw goodbye in her eyes.
Yeah. Oh, you totally. It was like, so I'm leaving my law job. And so I'm going to take a shot with this comedy thing. She was like,
her Tinder like reflected in her eyes. She could just see her. She was like
literally
swiping.
Yeah, like I saw her packing up. I could see her packing. Yeah, I could see her packing up in the whites of her eyes.
Like who's still single? That her parents
totally. She's like looking through. I could see pictures of her ex-boyfriend,
her
exes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, completely.
But you can't hate her for that. I mean,
no, I can't. And it's funny.
That's you're not the terms of service she agreed to.
Totally. And so I don't hate her for it. It was kind of funny though because. When I remember, like a year later, then we did that thing like where we slept with each other on New Year's because we were both still single.
Yeah.
I feel like everybody does that, right?
Breakup.
Yeah, like a slow breakup.
Yeah.
It never takes the first time, right?
Yeah.
I mean, like breakups just don't take unless I don't know. I guess they could, but
because you still like the person.
Yeah.
It's the core values are still there. It's just like there's no future there now.
Right. There was no future, and then I remember like I was moving to LA. I decided like I want to be in New York. Once I quit the law and I was like, I don't want to be in this environment anymore because again, like I'm not doing law, don't have a lot of money. I'm not going to be playing that same game.
You kind of need a clean slate too when you're like completely revamping your life. It's like why a lot of girls cut their hair when they break up. It's like you just need things to look different so that you can feel different and not have these reminders of your previous life.
Fingernails actually hold like memories. I know this sounds so new agey to say, but like there's feelings and emotions imprinted onto you.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why you're like scrubbing yourself after a bad experience. You're like, I want to shed my skin. It's like, you're literally going to shed your skin. You're becoming a new person.
Yeah.
You're cutting your hair. You're doing all these things.
Yeah, but guys, we don't really, I mean, you had the hair option.
I've cut my hair.
You did that. But I've never had long hair.
You see when I went really short, it's like, oh, Dave just had a heartbreak.
Yeah, big crisis. No, I know. My wife did the crisis hair color change thing. She did that once to a relationship, the red hair crisis.
So what was the crisis?
Just like career crisis. So like instead of like going to a career coach, you just went to the salon Sally Hirschberger and
it's cheaper.
Fucking Sally Hirschberger. Like I think you should have to consult when you're in a serious relationship. I think you should have to consult on hair change coloration.
Something drastic.
Something that drastic. That's my personal opinion.
Tasha was so mad when I cut my hair. I shoulder length.
Did you ask?
Do you remember my long hair?
Yeah.
You probably do.
Did you get a say?
He had been talking about it. But I was like, I don't know. I really liked.
Yeah.
I like long hair in general. Yeah. I like beards and long hair, and I was like nervous. I was really nervous.
So now you're not even attracted to him anymore, huh?
I'm just
I don't think she was in the first place, man. I don't think she was.
No, he looks good with the short hair too. He rocks the short hair. But I was
There's
nervous.
my compliment, folks. Got that one for the week.
She just described her type, and now I'm looking at you, and it's not you
at all.
I'm like, I think you're describing several different ethnicities.
Yeah.
Like big old. I like that big old. Too.
Yeah. She's like, I like these hairy lumberjack men.
I'm like, I've literally got like this clear chest.
She's like,
she's like
you. She's like,
you got this chest hair, and I'm like, I can't have chest hair.
Yeah,
I wish I did. I don't have.
She's like, I like guys with these big neck tattoos up to their throat.
I like lawyers.
I like ex-lawyers.
I was listening to Dak Shepard's podcast. He was interviewing his wife,
Kristen Bell.
And like she was talking about like they were openly talking about like one night stands she used to have. I don't think I could do that. I don't think I could hear. I know some Tasha stories, and they kind of bother me when I overthink them.
What?
Yeah, I know a story.
What story?
You told me once about like you know what I mean. Like I just know. And
I can't hear that. I could never. And the thing is like,
but bro, I got 20 times those.
I have 200 times.
Yeah,
like easily.
So it's like I have to talk to myself and be like, dude, she didn't know you. It's not like she was out there gallivanting when she knew me.
No.
Or was with me, and I wasn't, and I didn't do that when I was with her.
But we like to pretend that, when we meet our ladies that they don't have a sexual history. Like in our mind, we like to go, yeah, she was birthed by Virgin Mary and her mom was a virgin, and it goes back like generations of virgins, and like now I'm teaching her everything about sex for the first time.
Does your wife not want to know your past, or does she just not care?
She has no interest in that.
Same.
Because like first of all, she knows, like, because as I said, when we started dating, like all my friends were like, you're look at you. You're such a classy lady. What are you doing with this piece of shit? This guy, he's scum. I'm like, can we just not do that?
Thanks, Dad.
I know. I know. I'm like, that there are other guys willing to do that. As my friend, you don't have to be the guy to tell her not to do this.
That's what dudes are great. If you're not in the group with the guy, guys will just shit on, because it's warfare. It's us versus you. So it's like your buddies are clearly like teasing you in that moment, but they're still like, probably they're happy for you, of course. And they're like, whatever. But yeah, there's like that little.
Oh, you're too good for this guy. Everybody's saying that everywhere you're not around, to your lady.
But what's interesting is, like, I'll talk about a few of my buddies, and then I can tell Tasha will judge them, like Joey, guys that like get out there and sling some dick.
Yeah.
But it's no different than any other guy. I'm just letting her into the inside baseball moment.
Yeah.
So she's like, he's kind of, I don't know. It's like, no, he's a great guy.
Well, that's the thing. You don't want to let your significant other see your friends in a really disgusting light, because then they don't want you out with them. Like,
I think we were out early on, and Joey we just saw him right after leaving a club. Do you remember this?
Yes.
He got punched in the forehead by his ex's sister. So Tasha immediately took the ex's
sister. Wow, that's like the Beyonce Solange.
Yeah, they were kicking the elevator. They were Dominican or Puerto Rican or whatever. I mean, he took like a ring to the forehead, and he
had a bloody.
I love that. He's got like
he comes out of like
De Beers symbol in his head.
He comes out of like a bodega with a giant square, and I immediately like a Band-Aid. I immediately just started taking photos of him. And he's a big military dude. Served in the army. He was a big army ranger dude. And here he is, some woman. He's like, "Fuck you."
Well, it's funny.
I'm like, I don't want to tell you what happened in there, but like, women be scorned.
It's funny you say that, because I actually feel like sometimes, like, even still, I'm overcoming the thing where my friends' wives were so afraid of them hanging out with me when I was single. It's like I call my friends now, and I'm like, I'm married, I'm settled down, and it's like those days are behind me. But like, I feel like when I'm calling my friends now, they're like scared when I come. I'm like, oh, I'm in San Fran. You guys want to get together? He's like, dude, I don't do that anymore. I was like, I just wanted to see if you want to see an afternoon matinee. Bring your wife. They're like, they acting like I'm like a former Navy SEAL. Like,
well, because
those missions are over, man.
They grew up, and they don't know if you grew up too. They're just trying to.
You're still going to be a little debaucherous.
Oh, of course, you have to.
What I like out of the stand-up world is we get the chance to do bar shows and perform in other towns, and we get a chance to kind of go to the bar and hang out, and still sort of every once in a while live, I don't want to say that bachelor lifestyle, like you don't go there to hit on girls, but you get to go just be a part of that, like,
you
young
get your
energy.
fun.
Now Tasha's immediately viscerally going to be upset when I mention this.
What are you talking about?
You're going to be upset when I mention this, but it's the only time I'm going to tell this story. So
Wednesday. Oh, no.
Yes.
Please, this is the stupidest story. I've heard it. I've heard it 4 times.
And she hasn't taken my side once, but you have to understand, I'll take a lie detector test for what I'm about to tell you. It's not a big deal. Wednesday night, had a show at Madhouse, San Diego. Friend of a friend was going out for drinks afterwards, close by, 2-3 miles away. But our buddy Mike Alberici, past guest, is just a piece of shit, and he's like high out of his mind and drunk, so he's late. And I get to the bar, and I'm like, bro, where are you? You parking your car? He's like, dude, I haven't left yet, because so I'm like, fuck you, man. He's 10-15 minutes away. I was like, I'm going home. It's a 2-hour drive home. It's already midnight. I'm like, I'm going home. And then he's like, no, I'm coming. I'm like, all right, fine. So I was just like texting him at the bar, hanging out, whatever. 10, 15 minutes later, I was at the bar for maybe a total of 10 minutes. I'm not drinking because I'm already sort of tired. I smoked earlier, whatever. The show went well, so I'm just feeling good. I'm hanging out. I'm happy. But I'm also in kind of like stand-up outfit. Like, I had a hoodie on with like this black jacket. I was a little too trendy for this surf bar. And then anyway, I had a couple glasses of water from the little water jug. Texted my buddy, whatever, left, walked out. My buddy came, hang out. Hey, all right, let's go back in. We go to walk in. The bouncer looks at everyone's ID. Then he goes up to me and he goes, "You're not allowed in. You've been kicked out." And I was like, "What?" And then Mike and everyone else is like, "What?" And everyone's like, "Dude, how'd you get kicked out?" I was like, "Let me ask." And I was like, "Dude, what the fuck, man?" And he was like a little bouncer. Like, he was just like an old Asian dude. But he was like, "Yeah, you've been taking photos of girls in the bar." And I was like, "Here's my phone and here's my camera roll." No. no, I haven't. And he was like, yeah, the girls were complaining. And as it turns out, when I walked out of the bar, someone yelled, douchebag, fuck you. And like I was walking across the street to remove my hoodie to put it was kind of hot. And I was like, what? And I just figured they were talking to someone else. And I go back and it turns out they, for one reason or another, decided I was like this horrible guy. And I think the only thing I can think of is that like one of them kind of nudged into me at the bar, maybe wanted me to talk to them, and I didn't. My phone never went above my waist. I never had this moment where I was like, doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. I was never videotaping the karaoke. I was never doing anything that might have looked like doing that. And I got so mad. I got so fucking mad that like in that moment, I became the asshole. Although the guy was like, dude, you can come back another time, but like tonight you're not coming back in. I was like, I'm never coming back in. I was just like, it was just this moment where I was like, I am enraged by the fact that I'm being accused of something that's so far from the truth. Anyway,
that had nothing to do with anything we were talking about.
No, it does. So I'll translate it to, so probably what really happened was, he bumped into some girl and his phone was like this, and she probably thought he like took a picture of her boobies, and that's why.
Maybe. And I was laughing, texting Mike, like shitting on him.
I mean, I've definitely taken inappropriate pictures of people before, just like mostly like comedic, not like, ooh, I want to, like if I see something funny at a bar or like, I'll take, I don't know, we all do that now, right? We're like,
I took a photo of a chick.
No, you're a shithole.
No, you can do that. I took a photo of a chick in a bikini with this Guido dude.
Like when I see the whale tail sticking out at a bar, like really funnily. Like,
yeah, I've done that by all means, but this just wasn't the case. So I was like, there was literally, maybe I was being kicked out for my past. Maybe there was
it's like Scrooge. We know who you used to be. Yeah,
I don't my ID. They're like, oh yeah, you've had.
I don't advocate for doing these things, but I feel like we've probably all been guilty of them.
Buddies
one time
are great. I don't know if girls are like this, maybe, but buddies are great at having that group chat where you'll send an incriminating photo. Or like, I had one friend of mine. He had like a widow's peak. He shaved the widow's peak. And then now every photo he takes, he photoshops, like he smudges it like clean. So he just looks fucking ridiculous. And of course, I zoomed in on that, sent it to the other buddy. Yeah. And then like he zoomed it in more and sent it back to me. It's like, that guys, we shit on people we love.
I love my group text chain. Yeah. That's like the best thing that I have in my day-to-day life, like me and my high school buddies.
And stand-ups, comics, we get to do that in person. Yeah. We just get to shit on, although I don't know how many of my friends in LA I like really shit on. In the comedy world. I don't know if that's past. I think we're a little sensitive right now.
Yeah, sensitive. Also, I feel like you don't have that same closeness that you do with like, unless you have like some people have these like comedy cliques that they're like really tight with, but like, I don't know that I have, I've got a lot of different friends.
They're not guys that you're partying with.
Yeah, like I don't have, exactly. Different phase of my life. So I don't have that like same crew of like.
Speaking of phases of your life, so you just got married this year.
Yeah.
Congratulations. How long's it been now?
July 4th, so 7 months. Yeah.
And she's a wedding planner?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's cool, but it also made like the wedding planning, like, up the ante.
Did she have a lot of strings to pull? I mean, she had all the connections. She had the Rolodex.
Yeah, actually, she flew in like a famous florist from LA. I mean, we got married in Montauk, so she flew in. I mean, this was like a fabulously, ridiculously expensive wedding paid for by her family.
Is she from Long Island?
No, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Are you both from Jersey?
I'm from Long Island.
You're from Long
Jersey,
Island, Jersey, which is pretty much the same sort of people.
Yeah, so we did it in Montauk. That's like one of the nicest places you could do it. But so, yeah, she pulled a lot of strings, and like we did it at Gurney's, which is like this ridiculous venue.
Did you have a photographer from out of the country too?
Yeah, actually.
You had a French photographer?
We did, because we took engagement. I'm a romantic. I proposed in Paris. I had this whole trip planned.
Boo. But lower the bar.
Lower the bar. I know. All my friends are like, you piece of shit. What are you trying to make me look bad? I'm like, no, I don't know.
Gotta get rid of that jumbotron.
I'm not really concerned about anybody else in their relationship. I don't give a shit about you. But so actually our photographer, she was awesome, super emotional. She's a bit of a loose cannon head case, but really sweet lady and takes good photos. But 3 days before our wedding, we're in Montauk, and we're actually there for our wedding weekend. We get a call from her at midnight, and she's crying. So we already know what it is. I'm so sorry, I can't come to your wedding. I lost my ID at a bar. Like, what the fuck are you saying right now? Like, she...
Wait, was she telling you this, or you and your fiance?
Me and my wife.
Because your fiance must have been a ripshit.
So
that's something you don't want to hear.
Yeah, but she's very like disciplined and like type A. So she was like, okay, well, so what are you going to do about it? Like, do you have a solution? Yeah. And so she did. She had her old boss, who was a much better photographer than her, and she had him on the phone. Like, she had it already, And so she was like, okay. And this woman wanted to like cry about it and be all more emotional. And my wife was like, okay, so we're done talking to you. We now have to plan our wedding, which is in 2 days, with this new photographer.
Yeah.
So bye now. Yeah. So she like wanted to be consoled, even though she fucked us over to the highest order.
Yeah.
You know, like this is like a 10 out of 10 of wedding fucking over.
Yeah.
Your photographer bailing 2 days before your wedding.
Do you get so you get an older, more experienced photographer?
He's amazing. This guy Cengiz, he's like superstar, and he's like this hunky, like everybody was like, who is this superstar photographer?
Was he in Newport? I'm trying to remember the story.
Right. So
that's where I think he was where I'm from.
Yeah.
Which is like weddings in Newport.
This is what's so crazy. Yeah, this is what's so crazy. So we had to get this guy on. He was doing a wedding the night before in Newport, Rhode Island, and we were on Long Island, Montauk. Unfortunately, on a map, if you look at them, they're super close, but there isn't a ferry that just pops you right over.
We actually did. We took the ferry from the end of Long Island. What was the name of that?
To New London, Connecticut.
Yeah, Orient Point. Probably.
Orient Point, yeah.
Yeah, yes.
It's quicker to take a ferry than it is to drive around.
No, I know.
But if you have to,
so we did. So that's what they had to do. We had to get a limo at 4 a.m. after the wedding that he did the night before. Him and his assistant pick them up, take them to the New London, take a ferry. Then another ferry, then Montauk. So
he must have loved it. That's like a photographer's dream. Like, they're going to get me. Oh, I need to save this wedding.
No, he was cool. He was super. I mean, he was. You guys loved it. He was. No, it was awesome. He was like the hero. I mean,
better to find out a few days in advance, I guess, than night of.
Yeah, we had some crazy shit. Like the drive. That was one of 3 crazy things. The other crazy thing was, so then we're already like freaked out because of that. That just happened. So now we're driving to our wedding venue in the morning, and we had the gift bags from the heavens. My wife spent. Again, like ridiculous. I was like, why are we spending so much on gift bags? She's like, because I'm a wedding planner and this is going to be on the magazines and all the shit. And like, now they are, it's going to be at Inside Weddings and all this stuff. So she's like, it was all worth it, you know?
Yeah.
But so
that is good. He's like, she's working on her portfolio.
No, so I get that.
Much like that, you're going to give a speech and try to get some jokes in.
It's like always. I'm the wedding ringer.
You got the videographer. You're like, all right, I need you to film me. Get a close up. This is my demo.
I once did a speech at my friend's wedding. It was me and another comic, and the guy, the videographer tried to like hold the video hostage because he was like, these are so funny and like crazy and like something like he thought, because my friend was like a famous comic and he was like, I'm going to hold these hostage for more money. Because they were so funny, because their speeches were so funny. Yeah,
you get a white hot audience.
Yeah, I know. So,
easy laugh.
I know. So my friend was like, "You have no idea what's happening right now because of you guys."
Calling the sister a slut. They're loving it. Like Anyway, so
we're okay. So we wake up. So we've got these ridiculous gift bags. I'm not talking about like water and mints. I'm talking about like kettle corn from like Hampton Company, like these chocolate chip cookie, like fancy cookies, Tate's cookies, and like
withering away hearing about
this. In this canvas bag that like didn't say our names on it, so you could use it forever. Because I hate when you can only use it once because it has the person's name on it. And so we had to rent a Ford Expedition, and it was like fully blocked. I couldn't even see my rear view because all the gift bag stuff was in the back. So we get out on the highway, about a mile down the road.
How many people?
125.
Okay. All right.
And so a mile down the road, she goes, do you smell something burning? I'm
my God.
Yeah, something does smell like it's burning. So I checked the e-brake. It's not that. I'm like, so weird. Like, what is that? And all of a sudden we hear that ding, trunk opened. She looks behind her. She's like, fuck. I'm like, motherfucker. Empty. Everything gone.
What?
All of our gift bags had flown out the trunk of our car on the LIE, everything, like hundreds of like beers, mints, cookies,
total
popcorn.
Loss.
So we pull over, and then she starts having a meltdown because her one of the bags had her birth control. She's like, I'm going to be bleeding in my wedding dress.
That's so...
And I jump out of the car. We pull over on the side of the highway. I jump out. She jumps out. All of a sudden, I look over, and I realize I didn't close the door. My French bulldog jumps out of the car and is now standing on the highway. And so now I'm like, oh my God, holy shit. And you know that thing where if you run...
You don't want to chase him.
Right. So I was like, fuck. Oh my God. So I like slowly crept over and just like dove for her leash. So we're like panicking, like what is happening? Our wedding is completely melting down right now. And so we get back in the car. I'm like, okay, we'll just loop around. It's only 7 a.m. We got an early start. So I was like, maybe they'll be there. She's like, they're not going to be there. They're on the highway. Like they're getting run over. I'm like, all right, we'll just see. So we go back in the hotel parking lot. They're not there. We drive back onto the entrance, and literally as we're about to get on the entrance ramp, a sea of boxes, all of our stuff.
Been run over.
Not been run over. There's like no cars at this hour because you're all the way out at the Hamptons. 7 a.m. You have to realize everybody's going out to the Hamptons.
Right.
So like nobody's at that exit. Nobody's at exit 72 by 7 a.m.
Everyone's wondering how you didn't hear this.
So we just
you're listening to
accelerated.
My podcast. Actually,
we were accelerating. I don't know. We're just like it's 7 a.m. I'm stupid. No, that's why. I'm a dummy.
That's just insane.
I'm a moron. So I pulled the car over and I blocked.
Did she blame you immediately? Was she like, "What the fuck"?
No. We were just in crisis mode. It wasn't like yelling.
Tasha would have gone to blame immediately.
No, we don't.
Fuck the crisis.
I mean, look,
fuck you.
It's generally accepted that I'm always wrong, so it's not even like.
But was she like, "This is a sign"? It's not.
No, none of that. None of that. We're very like, we'll just make the best of it and figure it out. So I actually blocked the entrance to the LIE, like with my car, like turned it sideways.
It's a rental. Yeah.
Yeah. And so she got out and like Superwoman, like throwing these beer boxes, like these cases of beer into the car. We literally didn't lose a single bag.
Wow.
But there were some with like tire marks on them.
Yeah, a little dirty.
They were like,
you really went to get the local touch here. There's a total like Goodyear tire.
Yeah, I know. The people were like, these mints are all cracked. The Altoids are all like,
exhaust on the kettle.
And then the last thing that happened was everything went off without a hitch at the wedding, but then we did a bonfire and we stayed late. And so our venue was in Sag Harbor. So we had buses, like the really nice ones. And the last bus driver with all the drunken people, he had to do like a 3-point turn on these little highways, and he crashed the bus. But not like a people died kind of crash. He just like dinged it on the guardrail. Wouldn't have been a big deal, except he broke the latch that keeps the luggage in.
Oh my god!
And so that you can't drive because the flap is popping open. And so that kept happening. And it's like 1 a.m. People are wasted and they're yelling at this guy, and I'm in the back like, "Isn't it such a great night, everybody?" And they're like, "Matt, deal with this." I'm like, "Deal with what?" And so I get to the front, and like people are reaming this guy. I felt bad for this guy. He's like, because he's not communicating well what's going on. And so my wife's sister literally ordered another bus, and so we're like pulled over. It's 2 a.m. Now everybody's like hating us. Like now the wedding is like going down the tubes. Like all the good feelings are like dissipating. Like, we got to fix this. And so my friend turns into the superhero. Like the first hero was the photographer. Then my friend Dave, who's an orthopedic surgeon. I shit you not. He goes under the bus to look for something to fix this. He finds a mop. He cuts the mop open and uses all of like it's an old mop with like the spider web things. And he literally performs surgery on the bus and ties the bus back together.
He sutured the bus.
Back together, and we got home. Yeah.
That's what's great about weddings. You get a little bit of everybody. You get like the Noah's Ark of like the MacGyvers and then this guy.
Dude, I mean, an orthopedic surgeon suturing your bus back together. Like that is,
That's wild.
Yeah.
So then was there a wedding hangover? I mean, did you go straight to your honeymoon?
No, we did what they call a mini moon now. This is the good thing. So we actually we didn't stay at the hotel in Montauk. We stayed in Sag Harbor at this amazing little hotel called Barron's Cove, which I would highly recommend because everybody could stay there. Barron's Gurney's is like $1,500 a night. You can't can't like invite people to stay there. It's like a dick move,
Yeah,
you should go to Barron's Cove.
Yeah, Barron's Cove is super nice and also quite expensive. And so I actually had booked a hotel for people to stay at if they couldn't afford there. And that hotel ended up going under like a month before our wedding and not telling us. So all these people were calling me. They're like, "So what's up with this hotel?" I forget what it was called, the something inn, it was kind of like a lodgy type place.
Red roof? Was it
it was like a red roofy. And so I kept calling the hotel and nobody would pick up. I had to make my wedding planner. We had a day of coordinator drive 2.5 hours to check in on it, and she sent me pictures, and it was just a landfill. Like they had completely, like somebody else had bought it.
If you're going to close, you're not going to give people the courtesy.
No, didn't give the courtesy. But so the new owner ended up refunding everybody the money, but I had to scramble and find like Airbnbs. But this is like wedding shit.
But that's going to happen when you're doing all that. That's why I'm just so nervous. That's why I'm like, you get the engagement, great, but then you got this colossal undertaking.
No, but there are ways. I mean, obviously, you guys had to do it big. It's her job. It's a huge thing. Like, it makes a lot of sense. It's almost like marketing for her to do it big.
No, it totally was.
Yeah, and there's going to be a lot of like pressure. Other like industry, whatever, is going to be looking how she's doing it. So you guys had to go that route. But tons of people these days, like, there is a way to do it cheap and easy.
Here's how we have to do it.
Yeah.
So we've done plenty of fake weddings before.
Yeah.
Palm Springs, all these different places, because Tasha's modeling and stuff like that. We have to get the catalog. We got to get everyone. Like if you can agree that everyone who works on the cake and the florals and will be a part of some sort of branded thing, then you get them all to show up.
The vendor discount kind of stuff.
Give them a hotel, like you do whatever. But then the photographer, everyone kind of works.
Actually, it's funny because my wife and I we just recorded a bunch of episodes of a podcast that we were going to launch where she gives tips to do weddings. Like,
oh wow,
on the cheap.
Maybe we could be a project project for you.
Yeah. No, totally. Yeah, you guys should talk to her.
The door. Number one,
I know.
The door.
But she's a big believer. Even though like we ended up spending exorbitant sum, she's a big believer. Like her first website when she came out here was the Hostess Handbook for the Young, Broke, and Fabulous, and so her whole MO has always been like, I want to teach people how to entertain, not I want to spend a fortune to do things,
right.
On any budget. Hers is like everybody, not just women, men, like everybody should be thoughtful about when they're entertaining, even if it's like little house parties. Like there's no detail unturned. And when we have like a little gathering at our house, like when we do Oscars parties, it's like, the craziest.
Oh, we got to come now.
Yeah.
Do you guys make homemade soap together?
Is that something you guys are doing now? Because
here's some homemade soap.
Yeah, I knew you were going to hit me with some homemade soap.
Nice. I don't want to brag, but it sounds like we're going to be in competition with you guys.
This looks like a good piece of cheese, though. I would eat. I feel like I would accidentally.
And they smell. Yeah, they smell like
that one's better for the body.
Wait,
the one
use that one for like your dishes, and then the other one.
I was going to tell you guys an orgy story, but now we're like all into my loving wife and stuff.
No, soap goes well with orgy stories. So I wanted to hear that. Yeah, because we're almost at an hour, so like we got to wrap it up in the next 10 minutes or so. But yeah. So, like, is this are you guys swingers or what?
No. I'm trying. I think it's one of those things, I think it's like I think we have to have a kid, and then we have to be really bored.
Yeah.
I don't think like we're totally bored yet, but I'm already, I'm definitely like already pushing it.
I think guys would be more willing to do like some sort of like casual group friendly sex than women, but also like I don't know if that's a bridge you can come back to. The
thing is, I'm afraid my wife's going to end up in a relationship with somebody out of this.
She's going to meet this bearded.
I watch Pretty Little Lies and all that, Big Little Lies and all that. Yeah, it's like. Exactly. You don't want them meeting the the real guy of their dreams.
I want slightly uglier, flubbier dudes.
Yeah. No, I want us to be like, I don't want to go to like the nudist colony things. I just want to like go to like South America and like Colombia.
I want to go to a nudist colony. I don't want to go to like a sex retreat. Sex
I don't
retreat,
I'm not a good flaccid
but I'm
dick.
all about the nudist colony. I just don't want to sit anywhere that anyone else has already sat.
You don't want to be anywhere where the food and the nudity are together.
I want to have my own towel to sit on.
Yeah, you don't want to be on somebody else. Wait, I'll tell you a quick nudist colony story, and then I'll tell you the orgy story.
Great.
So this is funny because it ties into weddings, and I'll get back into the sex, which is what this podcast is somewhat loosely about, right?
Loosely is a key word.
Yeah. So my sister had her wedding at a place called Chebe Del Mar in Mexico, and beautiful resort, like an hour south of Cancun. It was like an 80-person wedding where we were like taking over this hotel. And she calls me up a month before the wedding and she's crying. She's like, I can't make out what she's saying. She's like, my hotel's a sex resort, sex club, swingers, there it is. I'm like, what are you saying? Just take a breath. She's like, so it turns out the hotel property sold to hedonism, these hedonism retreats. Like they were turning it into a hedonism retreat, but only like 3 weeks after she was going to be the last wedding they had there before. And so I was like,
so they're like installing swing sets.
Yeah, exactly.
Dildo
like all of it. But so
clearly I don't know.
No,
dildo launchers maybe.
I think dildo launchers. It's like everybody's like waiting to catch the dildo.
Yeah. Like flower
at the basketball game.
You hold it by the balls.
The bouquet.
Suction cups onto some bridesmaid.
I like
Can we get a cartoonist to help?
We're gonna have to go and figure out what they do there. But so I said to her, I'm like, how did you not know this? She said when they went on the tour of the hotel, like they went away for a weekend. They thought it was weird at the time that they weren't letting them out of their room. Like they were like, if you want to, tour the restaurant, like we'll come get you. And
like only when it's like
only when we're allowed. Yeah. So anyways. So I said to her, I'm like, so when is it changing over? So she's like, it's changing over 3 weeks after. I'm like, all right, so no big deal. Like, we won't tell anybody. It's going to be fine. Hopefully nothing is visibly weird there. Right. And so unfortunately, like a week before her wedding, when people are like going to the site to look for directions and stuff, it says, coming soon. Fuck your friends. They're like, coming soon.
Grandma's like, so.
I know, coming soon. Food, fucking, and margaritas,
But it was, so, I mean, did anything differ for the wedding?
So we get to the wedding and she's like, does anybody know? Like, I'm so embarrassed. And I'm like, no, nobody knows. Like, it's fine. And then, like, slowly but surely, like, we could tell that kind of like everybody knew, but nobody was talking about it. So then, like, at the rehearsal dinner. I gave a speech. I was like, listen, guys, this is going to be great for when we all come back here to celebrate their anniversary, right? And we're all going to have an orgy, And so like, she was so pissed, like her face turned beet red. But then it just like,
that's great.
I had to crack that shell open because then it became a running joke. And like my grandma was like, of course I knew it's a sex resort. Everybody knows.
That's the thing. It's like, this isn't new age. There were generations that were like cool with this.
Yeah.
I think we're coming back from this like World War II, repressed kind of.
Well, I think there was a lot of things. There was like AIDS that made us that put us into like a
tightened our buttholes.
Yeah, that tightened our buttholes from the 80s to like now, and then like I think we're starting to come back to.
I think our generation. I mean, I always pat ourselves on the back, but I think we are kind of like finally having this conversation.
It's too late for me now. I mean, now I'm married. I'm like, I missed the boat. If this sexual revolution happens, like, I'd be really pissed.
That's the thing. It always is. You're right, though. It is always like the older people that kind of realize, all right, maybe having sex isn't like. Yeah, maybe it's like not something you ruin the relationship over, and
like
communicate.
Well, Esther Perel's got one of the hit podcasts, and her whole thing is like, you have to like define your relationship differently than like the traditional way if you want like happiness and shit. Not to like freak you guys out, but if you look at it, like she's all about like infidelity doesn't ruin a relationship or like.
But every guy has the temptation. I was making the joke about this on stage. It's been bombing, but I really like it. It kind of bombs, and then I kind of mention that it bombs because the men are afraid to laugh next to their girls.
Always,
but it's
there's a lot of that.
Guys masturbate to their girlfriends' friends online, and it's just like a thought of like it's like the flu vaccine. You want a little bit. You want to see, if Tasha has a friend who's like out in her bikini, you're like, look, I can see that now. I can see this, and I don't have to be like, you know what I mean? It's just like,
I know what you mean.
It's creepy.
Believe me, I'm not laughing because she's here.
It's creepy, but it's like, and if it's the other way around, it's like, go ahead, masturbate to my buddies. Go have, you know what I mean? Like, it just doesn't go both ways. But it's like in today's world, we get to see like a peek in. It's like voyeurism we get into people's lives, but that they're clearly sharing.
Yeah, no,
we're not psychos. It's just men are just constantly not looking for something better. It's not that. Like, I love Tasha. Like, we're good, but it's like men are constantly just naturally looking at everything.
And if men and women were exactly the same, then there would be women prowling the streets of New York at 5 a.m. at delis trying to hit on people too.
And they could, and that would, and men would love that.
Yeah,
there's no like men wouldn't be like, ew, women are such pigs.
No, we need a balance.
Yeah,
it's a balance. Women, they hold on to it. They hold on to like they control the sex, and they let the guy in if they want to. And that's kind of like the dynamic, but it creates for men being like, like dogs, like, all right, let me out, and then you let him out, and he's like, woo, I'm running.
Yeah. I'll say this: my wife is like very, she doesn't bother me when I'm jerking off, like she doesn't mind.
She caught me jerking off in the shower.
There's no catching.
I started laughing at
There's no catching, right? So there's no catching. She's just like, can you just keep it down when you're in the shower? Like, can you just keep it down a little? Like, all the grunting, like, is that really necessary?
What do the neighbors think?
Yeah, like, is it really necessary for you to moan in the shower? Like, I'm out here trying to meditate.
Sometimes guys need to.
Like, I'm out here meditating. Like,
well, in this instance, I was heading to work soon, and I knew she wasn't going to have sex with me. Yeah. I was like, I'm not going to go to work all.
No, but I do try. Listen, the thing is like, I always try in the morning. I'm like, but I wake up too early, so like my wife's
you're not on the same schedule.
I know. I'm like, she's just like, just give me an hour. I'm like, an hour, I'll already have jerked off twice by then.
The girl could like be asleep with her hand out, and the guy's going to try to put his dick in her hand. Yeah. The guy's going to try to. That happened 7 days.
Actually happened very.
Like, and she got really mad at me, and I was like,
I woke up with a dick in my hand.
I was doing this bit for a while about how
it was mine, by the way.
Yeah, I was doing this bit for a while about how like now my wife's coming up with new excuses to not have sex with me. It's like she's pretending to meditate, and I'm like, I know she's not really meditating because she's a Jewish girl from Jersey. She doesn't have the relaxed energy to truly be meditating, but also. Like, if she was really meditating, could she be interrupted by my dick grinding into her back? Like, you think the Dalai Lama could be interrupted by somebody poking a dick into his back?
How deep is that thought you're in?
Yeah. And I'm like, you know what? I'm not interrupting you. I'm like, I just woke you up from a dream with Ryan Gosling. Like, you were on the pool, you were like having drinks, and I stuck my dick right in his drink, and I ruined the whole. I'm like the waiter who came over, and you're like, go away, we're not ordering yet. Like, we just getting to know each other.
It's like, that's what it is. Yeah. You're crashing this. Tasha, she's definitely woke up from dreams where I'm like, oh, you were probably having sex with another guy in your
dream. Jake Gyllenhaal.
Who's your dream? Well, I don't want to ask. So tell me.
Every time I see her, my wife like watching a movie and like, I don't know. It's like, or like Kit Harington. I just can like hear her breathing differently.
You can feel the sexual energy radiating off her.
Yeah, you can feel it.
That's fine. It's like, all right, good. So we're both on the same page. We watched, what was that movie? The Charlize Theron movie? Is that the one?
Cillian Murphy's the one that my wife loves.
We watched Atomic Blonde.
Yes.
Atomic Blonde, and like, there's a crazy lesbian fuck scene, and I could tell like Tasha was getting turned on by it, and I am too. And I'm like, all right, this is the all right, then more like this. Netflix, find us more like this.
We recommend
more like this.
We recommend that. Wait, do I have time for this orgy story?
Please,
this is great. Okay, so when I was single, I met this dentist named Talia. And we started hooking up, and she was like just crazy sexual, like maniac. It was amazing. You know, like sometimes you just meet somebody that's like, this is like unadulterated. This person is like the embodiment of sex and the id, and just like.
Your name's Talia?
Talia.
Talia is a sexual name. I think that name chooses your sex.
You think that's what it is? You think she was born in like.
Yeah, that wasn't a
she looks like
name.
a Talia. She's going to fuck a lot. And so. You know, we would go out and like fuck in the bathrooms of bars, like all that crazy shit, you know, that you do in New York in your 20s. And then my friends were like, oh, dude, can we like have an orgy with this girl? And like, I was like, I don't know, you know, we could ask. And she was kind of like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. Like, I thought we were like, you know, she acted like.
That's polite that you asked, though.
Yeah, she acted like she thought we were in like, so then I left, and we slept over at my friend's one time, and I had to go to like a family holiday party. I remember because it was like Passover or something. And it was like, I have to go. It's this like Jewish holiday. She's like, all right, I'll just sleep here. So then my buddy was like, do you think she would hook up with me? I'm like, I don't know, just go knock on the door. And so he knocked on the door.
Of you, if anything.
Yes, he knocked on the door, and like they fucked, and then she felt really bad about it, and I was like, it's cool, like it's fine. She's like, no, I have to make it up to you. She's like, you're coming with me somewhere on Saturday. I'm not going to tell you what it is, but you're going to fucking love it. Yeah. So what she didn't tell me was, hey, it's a sex party and everybody else is wearing costumes, so maybe you should wear a costume. I'm the only person who showed up at this sex party. No, not like shit. They were just wearing wigs and stuff, and like, but like,
what are they like reading the Constitution? What kind of powder?
No, like she was wearing like a blue wig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think it was because so these people were all like professionals. Like it was like successful people, you know what I mean? So I think they like
so they wanted to slightly look different.
Yeah. Kind of. And they were all I was probably 26 at the time, and they were all probably in their mid-30s. She was in her mid-30s. So people were probably significantly older than me, and like married couples and stuff. So I get there, I'm the only one like not in any costume at all, and I don't know what's going on. And so I meet all of her friends, and she's like, so, you know, just stick with me and you'll feel it out, and like you'll figure it out. You know, just don't walk off on your own because you don't know what you're doing yet. And like, so we're chit-chatting. And then all of a sudden, like, this other couple just like start fucking, you know, and like I walk around and the people are just like starting to fuck, and it's in this loft. It's like dark, a bunch of different rooms, but it's like a pretty nice loft. And
fuck, like taking their shoes off, fuck, or like quick pants down, fuck.
No,
are they like making love? Or are they like
no? It was mostly like clothes on fucking at the time, but later on it got like more clothes offy. And then she's like, "Why don't we just fuck first so you feel comfortable about what's going on here?" And so like we went into one of the rooms and like on a bed and like fucked. It was like, okay, this is weird. There were like people walking by, but nobody was like. It was early in the
open doors, like little nooks. People are kind of like
an hors d'oeuvre person.
No, there was no food, but there was like just drinks, just alcohol. And drugs, apparently, which we'll get to in a second. And so then we do that, and then I'm like, all right, I'm feeling a little more comfortable, and I start meeting her friends. And this one guy comes up to me, and he's like this huge guy. I remember because he like put his arm around me in like a really aggressive way. He's like, oh, I can't wait for you to fuck my wife. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, oh man, I can't wait to fuck Talia. I'm like, okay, cool, man. Like, I don't know how it works. I don't know what do they get a say? Like,
yeah. You guys just traded partners.
So I told Talia, and I was like, so is that like, what's going on? She's like, nah, I don't want to do this guy. So I was like, all right, fine. I'm fine. Like, she's like,
to break the news to him. Like, sorry, bro.
Yeah, no. So she's like, just don't say anything to him. Don't talk to him like the rest of the night because he's going to want to fuck me. And like, all right. I was like, I don't really know how this works, but whatever.
I love that you become the girl where you have to like turn down his.
Yeah, I know. And I'm like, I wanted to fuck her friend, But so then later on, she had another friend, and she's like, come here, Matt. And like, they're like hooking up with each other, and she's like, come here. And she's like, I want you to have sex with us both. And I was like, okay. I'm like, come on, guy. And like, I couldn't get hard, and
just because of like all the like eyes watching.
Well, I don't know exactly
protected
what
moments.
It's very
of sex,
exhibitionist.
Like
it's very
another.
It's very exhibitionist. What do you mean swap one?
Like if you're having sex with this one
like
girl,
condoms?
Can you then immediately start having sex with Talia? Or is there like you have to...
So there were condoms.
Yeah.
And she also was like, okay, maybe it'll be easier if I sit on top of her and like... You fuck us on level. It was like the whole like
some like
geometry thing to it.
Tale shit going on.
And so I was like, damn it, it's like I couldn't get. I was like, I just need to like get some air and like walk around, So just like walking around, and now people are like taking their clothes off, and it's becoming like more and more crazy. And then I come back and she's like full on blowing some dude, and I'm like, okay, cool.
The blowing's it.
Yeah.
See,
so I'm like, wait, is she going to wave me over? I don't want any part of that,
you got to just start flicking someone's bean. Yeah. How do you combat that?
So then she finishes this guy, and then like she's like, all right, so just point to.
How?
She's like,
how does she finish the guy?
What do you mean how?
Like, did she come, swallow, like what?
No, she like swallowed this dude's.
Yeah. Okay.
So then
she snowballed to you?
Yeah, no. I was like not even. I was just like at this point like hanging out, like talking to her friends. And so she's like, just walk around and tell me if there's any girls you like, and if I like the guy, then we'll like swap it out, And so we tried this a couple times, and like literally every time I tried to like get involved with a girl, like I was like, come on.
Oh, bummer.
Come on.
You needed a pep talk from the other dude.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, man, get your shit together.
And so finally, like, it was like 2 hours of this. And finally I was just like, all right, this is just, I don't know, it's not for me or whatever. And then we were leaving and she's like, did you have a good time? I'm like, yeah, I had a good time. She's like, what was wrong with you? Like, how did the Viagra not work for you? And I was like, huh? She's like, you didn't take like a ton of Viagra? Like everybody here is on like so much fucking...
So it's a thing. It's a thing. It probably is. I mean, I imagine it takes a certain personality to be like able to perform with a bunch of people walking by and distractions
it's
looking at you.
It's just not sexual. To me, it wasn't like, I don't know. There was something like non-sexual about it. I think people have it in their mind that orgies are like super sexual. She could have given you a heads up. I know. She didn't give me a heads up on any of this.
If you took that same environment, would you bring your wife there?
Well, so I just don't think my wife's an orgy lady.
Yeah.
That's just not her.
But would it bother you if she was like, I'd like to try it? Would you?
No, I'd be
lesser than, or to be like, okay, look, no. So you would be cool enough letting another guy have sex?
I don't know. Honestly, these are questions that I'm grappling with. Right? I'm like, where's this going to go in the next couple?
Because that's the hard part. Is that like I pose this question to my guy friends all the time. It's like, if you could have sex with another woman, would you let a guy have sex with your girl? And it's like,
I want to be selfish about it and say no to that, but I want to be able to. Yeah, it's like, I know that's selfish, but that's the way I view my happiness.
What would you do, Tasha?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's a hard one. I mean, you don't have to make the answer. You don't have to decide this right now.
No. Right now, before the episode.
Right, we need to know.
We actually do have to get out of here because you got that phone call you need to go on and all this bullshit. Dude, come back on soon. Would your wife ever want to come on with you? Or
I think so.
If it's not her style, fine. But if she would like to, bring her back on. But if not, no big deal. But she always could give us advice on your wedding things and stuff like that.
Yeah?
We're getting there.
Okay.
We're getting there.
Slowly.
The camera caught your eyes
glacially.
Tasha's good at...
Listen, we were together for 7 years before we got married. So you got time.
We're at 4.
You got at least 3 years.
Tasha told me if we...
I used to hate these guys who jump the line. You're with your lady for 4 and some dude's like 9 months in.
Like, bro,
and then and then Tasha comes home and she's like, oh my God, did you hear about Barbara and Mike? And then you got to be like, yeah, they're fucking nuts. They don't know each other.
Yeah, people are engaged. You like didn't even know they were dating.
I know.
Yeah.
It's statistically, the longer you wait, the more successful the relationship will be.
I don't know.
Statistically, of course.
That's got to be true.
The longer you wait, the less chance you have. I mean, the less chance you have of like
that has to
not
be true.
Knowing the person well enough. Anyway, so people can find you. It's the Safe for Work podcast on the Wondery Network.
On the Wondery Network. I don't know, when is this going to air?
This is actually going to be in a few weeks. So
okay, so Monday, so we run a live show of my other podcast, Legally Insane, at the Hollywood Improv, so you can come check that out in May. May 3rd.
Okay, May 3rd. It'll be up before
it'll be up before then.
So May 3rd, you have a live show at the Hollywood Improv.
Yeah.
I'll make sure to promote it on our 6
And and Safe for Work, if you have, by the way, we get a lot of relationship questions in the workplace, like, should I tell people I'm fucking my boss and all that stuff?
Do we need to report this to HR?
Do we need to report this to HR? It's like, no.
HR doesn't like that. They don't want to know. Don't let me know what you do.
Just don't fucking make googly eyes so everybody... The thing is, everybody knows in the workplace.
People
are so bad about it. I know the ass grabbing.
And how do you not...
When you're infatuated and...
I know. You're doing like that little like light touching by the kitchen and everybody's like, we all know you're fucking. Like, why would you touch somebody on the shoulder in the kitchen?
You're not fucking anymore.
Yeah.
Right when that's over. Anyway, thanks for doing the podcast. Come back on soon, man.
Super super fun.
Like we just started to dive in.
I know. I think we have a lot more stories.
Oh my god!
Diving into these.
I've got so many more sex. I just gave you guys like a teaser.
There you go. Yeah. All right. So and Instagrams, Twitter.
Matt Ritter 1.
Are you related to the other Ritters?
I changed mine when it came to Hollywood.
Okay, because there was a Ritter. What's the name of the Ritter?
I have no idea.
John Ritter.
And his son,
Jason Ritter.
Jason Ritter was on a show on NBC, and he doesn't look like me, but this photo was on every bus stop, and everyone thought it was me because they photoshopped him. It turned out to be me, so I have this connection. Anyway, there's no point to the story. Anyway, if you want to see me getting kicked out of a bar, come to anywhere I'm at. Super sketchy, so bartenders don't like me apparently. Really, like let's fight the good fight. There's dudes getting roofied in the point is enough. I'll never tell that story again, which is not true.
You definitely took a shot at some girl's whale tail.
Go on Yelp and just leave an angry review. Anyway, Tasha Courtney on Instagram at Tasha Courtney.
Yeah.
At Tasha TV. You don't do Snapchat anymore.
I stopped
Snapchat
with
dead?
Snapchat.
It's dead. It's
I
losing
feel
billions.
bad for them. Yeah, they're losing.
Yeah,
a lot of money.
they got killed by Kylie's one tweet.
Yeah, the Jenners are like, we're not into it. They lost $10 billion. Sex Actually Pod on Instagram, and we got a ton of content on there, so go check that out. We're cutting up the videos and putting it all on Instagram. And look, if you enjoyed this story, share it with a friend, tag a friend on the Instagram, whatever. It has some value, so keep sharing it. We're not like you with your Safe for Work podcast, top of the charts here, or in a dog.
I saw you guys have a lot of reviews.
A lot of good reviews. Yeah, like I got a big family. I have a big family. Please review.
You have like 200 5 stars.
We've got a lot of 5 stars. We got a couple 1 stars. I made a black joke early on, and that didn't go over well. One person's like, "I liked you, but don't
get a black comic on here to talk about their sex life, and then you'll get it back in."
All right. Well, the thing with rating and reviewing is I found out that doesn't even help the algorithm anymore. So I'm just like, you know what? You got to subscribe.
Keep changing it, man.
Yeah.
You can't chase the algorithm.
I don't care if you listen on TuneIn, iHeartRadio, wherever you find this podcast, fine, but download and subscribe to the podcast app on your iPhone, your iPad, your Mac, your computer. That's the one that I care about. Go listen to it somewhere else, but at least subscribe on that. And if you're listening next to your significant other or a friend, get their phone, type in Sex Actually on their podcast, and just sign up for them. Do a little hostage takeover. That's all I'm asking. Anyway, thank you so much for doing this podcast. It was a brilliant... Look, we just did 80 minutes like that.
Awesome.
Am I late for my call?
No, you're not late. I kept track of it.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh, the stress. All right, thanks, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
So fun. Good times.
It's in 3 minutes.
Get in there.
Oh,
get on there.
Geez.
Did I tell you guys enough sex stuff? Is that okay?
I recorded the whole time.
I haven't even